Podcast One presents The CHAD Prather Show, your one-stop shop for comedy, craziness, and common sense. Each week, YouTube star and voice of the everyman, CHAD Prather, brings his armchair philosophy and observational humor to the podcast world. Nothing is off limits. And now for your host, CHAD Prather.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CHAD Prather Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. We're having a great time here, and I just want to say, God bless you. God bless you for subscribing, telling your friends about it. This thing has just taken off in a huge, huge way, and I can't wait to get to today's episode. I have got legendary country music singer Neal McCoy with me. Had an opportunity to sit down with Neal, and he's always been one of those guys who I've been a fan of, but he's in recent days, even in the last year, he's sort of become a hero to me. And he's gotten a little controversial. I like that. You know I like that. And so we talk about that a little bit in our conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. I went to his house there in Longview, Texas, just outside of Longview, Texas. He's got a beautiful, beautiful home, and just a great place out there, and he was so gracious. He and his wife, Melinda, welcomed me in. We had a great time sitting down talking with him and his wife, and then his son, Swade, who is an actor, an aspiring actor out in Los Angeles. He was in town from North Hollywood, so we were able to hang out a little bit there at the house before we got into our podcast conversation. And it was just a fun time, and you're going to enjoy this talk we had. I tell you, I was sitting there this morning. I got up early this morning. If you know me, you know that I'm the guy who likes to go to the diner and eat breakfast. I will go to the local diners. I like the Greasy Spoons. I'll go to the Waffle House. I don't know if everybody around the country, I don't know if you guys all have the Waffle House or something like that, but I love the Waffle House. The curse for me is the Waffle House is only about a mile and a half from my house, so it's very easy. I love to go there and eat breakfast. I know all the waiters. I know all the waitresses. I know the cooks. And you people, I know some of you go, God, that place is nasty. How you do that? But look, I like a little bacon grease to wash down my cholesterol medicine every morning. It just makes my eggs over easy go better with my lovastatin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know it's nasty, but it's my kind of nasty. That's why I go there. You can sit down, you can shovel in the double hash browns, scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, peppered, topped, capped, strangled, eviscerated, and covered in chili from a can while you're only 4 feet away while, through the swinging door, a fellow patron is flushing his browns down the toilet. It's gross, and we love it. You know what I'm saying? You can actually hear him in there talking to Jesus. I was in the Waffle House this morning, and I was talking to my friend Charles. He is the cook. He is from Nigeria, and I love listening to his stories. I spent a good bit of time in Nigeria myself once upon a time. It seems like another life ago. And Charles just in there just mixing up the waffle batter with his bare hand. God bless him. He's just humming and a mixing, telling stories. He's got a glove on one hand. That's the one holding the bowl, but it's one of those big rubber yellow gloves, that he probably used it earlier to clean the aforementioned commode. He's just mixing it up, wiping sweat off of his brow. And he got to telling me some things. And one of the things I found out about him is he's a huge country music fan. And he started telling me that his favorite country music star out there today is Neal McCoy. And I said, well, interestingly enough, Charles, you need to subscribe to the CHAD Prather Show with Podcast One, and you'll listen to my conversation with Neal McCoy. And so showed him how to download a podcast. I know a lot of folks out there, they don't know how to do that, how to subscribe to the podcast. You can get onto the Podcast One app. You can search out the CHAD Prather Show. You can go to Apple Podcasts, and you can search CHAD Prather Show. I know you can find others out there. There are various apps that carry it. So make sure that you get out there, you tell your friends about it, you show them how to subscribe and tune into the CHAD Prather Show and make sure that they're listening. And while they're on the Podcast One app, they can hear all types of great podcasts, incredible personalities, such as the Adam Carolla Show. You can hear Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can hear some fun stuff and just really spend a lot of your time listening to talk. It's really the wave of the future as we move further into the 21st century. There's a lot of common sense being spoken via podcasts, and hopefully you'll look at mine and think, well, he's saying some stuff that makes some sense. I've enjoyed having the different guests that we've had, and we're looking forward to some fun personalities, characters, celebrities coming up in the days ahead, and I'm just excited about it. And I know you guys have got to be excited as we head into the Christmas season, into the new year. I hope you're looking forward to a brand new, fresh 2018, and some good things are coming your way. And 2017 has been a tremendous blessing to me, and as we move into 2018, I'm just reminded that, a few years ago when I started this whole process of getting on social media and posting videos the way that I do, that I felt like I was like a baby, just a newborn baby, just kind of emerging. And I felt like that baby has sort of learned how to crawl and learned how to stand up and learn how to toddle and walk. And now the baby's sort of running a little bit. And I hope for 2018 in my own career, through things like the Chad Prather Show with this podcast and various other things, such as my live shows on stage with the Star Spangled Banter Tour, I hope that baby is now turning into a kid that's going to be running and really get a lot of momentum behind it. And so I have you to thank for that. I really do. I want to say that I appreciate your support and all the attention you've given me and the ways you guys have sent me encouraging messages. And I want to encourage you, leave a positive review on the podcast. Send me some comments. Send me some messages. Feel free to email me. You can email me, chad@watchchad.com, with your comments, your thoughts, and who knows, maybe we'll read some of those on the podcast coming up in the days ahead, and we'll have some conversation about your email. So I'm going to encourage you, email me, chad@watchchad.com, and just put in the subject line, The Chad Prather Show, and I'll know to open that up and pay attention to it in terms of what we need to do and things we can talk about on the show in the weeks to come. Wow, now I'm hungry. I started thinking about Waffle House, and anyway, I got to get my brain off of that because, yes, I have gained weight. There's nothing better, though. After you go out and you do a comedy show, no matter what city you're in, the Waffle House is always open late, and they're not paying me a dime to say this. That's why I've gained weight, because 2 o'clock in the morning, I've done the show, and it's just time to go eat. It's the worst thing in the world, isn't it? Eating 2 o'clock in the morning. But I do it. So I've got some shows that are going to be coming up. You can check my tour schedule at watchchad.com, and I've got a few things that are going to be coming up. For instance, I will be in Vegas the 9th through the 15th of December. I'm going to be in Billings, Montana on the 15th of December. I'm going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the 16th of December with the Star Spangled Banter Comedy Tour. And then, of course, I am going to finish out the year in Casper, Wyoming on the 29th of December. And if the snow will let me get out of there, I'm going to finish out the year for real on December 30th in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Cox Business Center, right there in the heart of Tulsa. So go to watchchad.com, check it out. Going to be moving all across this country with more and more dates being added all the time. And almost daily we have offers that are coming in and picking out these opportunities to go to these places. You can also visit my blog at politicalcowboy.com. That's a place where I go in there and give some of my musings on the world of politics and the things that are happening at large, the headlines that are coming your way almost at the speed of thought nowadays in the 21st century, thanks to our wonderful internet. So check it out, watchchad.com for the tour, politicalcowboy.com just to read some thoughts and have some fun. And of course, find me on all the social medias, whether it's on Twitter at WatchChad, Instagram at WatchChad. You can Google Chad Prather and you'll find me all over the place. But hey, get on Facebook, search the same, and then follow all of my pages. You can also follow Political Cowboy on Facebook, and guaranteed you're going to find some things you love, you're going to find some things you hate, but that's what we're in this for. So thank you for tuning in and subscribing to the Chad Prather Show. When we come back, I'm going to be sitting down with legendary country music artist, Mr. Neal McCoy.
We will be back in a moment with more of the Chad Prather Show.
Have you heard Spike's Car Radio here on Podcast One? It's comedian, actor, and writer Spike Ferrison sitting on the porch in Malibu talking to his famous friends about cars.
My first guest is Jerry Seinfeld. He's right here. He was all right. Don't try to hug him.
Or Chris Hardwick.
I could feel everything on the road. I mean, it was basically like unprotected sex for driving.
Jeremy Piven.
You know what? I think you and Jerry are spiritually tied to cars, and I respect it and I love it, but I don't quite get it yet, but I want to get it.
Other past guests include Jason Bateman, Russell Peters, and even Adam Carolla.
Mr. Adam Carolla. Go with the Queen. I mean, the King role has been filled, but the Queen vacancy's
You're
open.
the Queen of all media.
Get new episodes every Wednesday at PodcastOne.com, on the new Podcast One app, or at Apple Podcasts. And if you like Spike's show, check out our other car shows like CarCast with Adam Carolla, Everyday Driver, or Shift and Steer, exclusively on Podcast One.
Hey folks, Podcast One has a great new app for you to listen to the Chad Prather Show and all of the great Podcast One shows available right now in the App Store or on Google Play. Find articles, social media, create playlists with your favorite episodes, and connect with other fans of the podcast. You can even create your own polls and debate the topics we talk about on the show. We have our own little community out there. You need to join it. Check out exclusive content such as behind-the-scenes photos and so much more. And if you have 360 video or watch shows in virtual reality, there are over 1,000 videos on the app right now It's like you're in the studio. There is no other podcast app like this. Download the all-new Podcast One app in the App Store or on Google Play.
Welcome back to the Chad Prather Show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chad Prather Show on Podcast One. It's always good to sit down with some guys that I consider my heroes. I mean, It's not just guys and girls, too, but I'm sitting down with a guy today.
But how many guys have girl heroes, right?
Not a lot.
Yeah,
There's not a lot.
So
although I'm starting to fall in love with the new Wonder Woman, you know.
Yeah, I like her, too.
I like her, too, for a lot of reasons. She's an outspoken girl, and I appreciate her. But I'm sitting here. I'm actually I'm going to brag for you a little bit. I'm going to brag on you. I'm sitting in the pool house out here in East Texas with my buddy Neal McCoy. Neal McCoy, all you got to do is go to nealmccoy.com and it'll tell you all about him. It says legendary.
It does say
Neal McCoy.
Yeah, I gotta get with my bio writer, and because I don't know how long. I don't remember the person who wrote legendary, but it's true now. But I don't know how long. I hate to think it's been in there for the last 20 years.
It's true. So if you're not familiar with Neal McCoy, then you've been living on the wrong planet, and you're certainly not a country music fan, and you and I probably don't get along too well. But Neal has been an influencer for a long, long time, and you go back. You got started in the country music business. When you really kind of popped on the scene was what, the early 80s?
Yeah, I didn't really start having a recording career until 89, 90. But I got my little start, and I won't bore you with all the details, but I'll give you the cliff notes. I entered a contest in Dallas, Texas. They were having a country little talent competition at Bell Star. The club there, to find, maybe they were looking for the best the next superstar, I don't know. But I won this contest. Through that contest, I got to meet Charlie Pride, who lives in Dallas also, and he took me under his wing and let me start opening shows with him through the 80s and give me the opportunity to hopefully be heard by some people. He told me he's going to help me get a record deal, and I guess he did, but it was 9 years later before I got it, so I thought, well, thanks a lot, Charlie.
Yeah, it's a long way to the top.
It's a long
climb. How does that feel, though, when somebody like Charlie Pride, who is truly, absolutely 100% without question, we can't even joke about it, legendary.
Yeah, that is.
Who says, hey, look, I like you, I'm going to take you under wing, and I mean, that's a pretty impressive deal. It's got to be a humbling thing.
It was huge because at the time, I'm singing around the Northeast Texas area, singing everything from big band music to easy listening to a little country music, and I didn't have any. I just wanted to be a singer, so I would sing anywhere. Weddings, somebody'd hire me, and I'd sing.
You grew up singing in church?
I did. Grew up singing choirs, church, all the way through.
When's the last time you went to church?
Back then, it was about 40 years. No, I go to church.
I asked that question jokingly because it's living on the road touring like you do, like I do. It's hard. We got to find church when we can find it.
Yeah, 35 weekends out of the year, we're still away.
Yeah, especially after you do a Saturday night show. You have church on a tour bus, don't you?
We do. Yeah. I'm the preacher. You want to make that sermon? I promise you don't want to miss that. Chad.
Y'all sit down. I got some stuff to say.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're going to be here a while.
Let's go over last night. But no, you. So you did that, and you've had how many albums have you released?
Man, if you read, and I don't know where they're getting their numbers, but if you read, we've had I think 15 albums, but that's greatest hits packages and different things. So about 15 albums.
Yeah.
15, 16 albums, something like that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but
you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong. I'm going to be wrong a lot, actually.
Okay, I'm going to be correcting you a lot then.
Interview's over. Okay. We're out.
Dang it. So is this working? I was cutting out.
Your first number one song, no doubt about it?
The first number, yeah.
How's that feel?
I was 34 years old before I had it. So I had been beating the bushes. I'd been out with Charlie Pride. I had my own band. I was working. Had released with Atlantic Records, signed my first real record deal in 1990 with Atlantic Records. I went through 2 albums, probably 7 singles. And at the time, you're making videos for everything. So I'm $1.5 million, $2 million in the hole with Atlantic Records. The head of Atlantic Records, Rick Blackman, called me in his office. Called me Cowboy. He said, Cowboy, I need to talk to you. And I went in there and I said, I know, Mr. Rick, you let me go, and I get it. I said, I appreciate everything y'all have done. You took a gamble. I've sunk y'all in the depths of financial destitution, probably just through me myself. And I get it. I know what you can tell me. I said, just kind of save your breath. And he said, no. He said, Cowboy. He said, You do everything that you can do. You're still out there 300 days a year. You're working. And I promise you, people like you. You're doing the right things. You're doing everything we've asked you to do. I don't know that we found the right song for you. He said, I'd like to go another album on you. And I was almost, and I almost tear up sometimes telling the story because I was ready for my career to be over. My wife and I had put our dreams out there, and I knew he was fixing to cut me loose. And he said, no, we're going to go another album on you. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, I don't. He said, I like you a lot. I said, people like you. Radio likes you. You're doing all the right things. He said, we just haven't found the record. We want to go another album. I said, oh my gosh, Mr. Rick, you got to be kidding me. He said, no. So he said, I'm going to change your record producer. I said, whatever you think is right. And he changed to Barry Beckett, and we went in the studio, and that's where we recorded the No Doubt About It album, released No Doubt About It, the first single. And it climbed, when it started climbing, Chad, it was like, I can't believe it, because we had one record get to 37 or 38. Mm-hmm. And other than that was it. And it started climbing, and it got, and everything went so slow back then. So I'd been out, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 months, and it just got into the top 50. Yeah. And then we just watched it climb, and it, I remember, I'll never forget the day that he climbed, and I know I talk a lot, and you can edit this however you want to edit it, but it was a number 2. It was a number 2 song in the country, and we were ecstatic. And Brian Schweitzer, that was head of national promotion at the time for Atlantic Records, said they made their calls Monday nights. So when they got the chart in, and they released it on Tuesday morning, he said, I'm gonna call you Monday night. I had a big gathering I was singing at a Chinese restaurant here in town. Nice. On weekends, and we gathered around. I had my family, my friends, and we were waiting on the call, and they were gonna call me. And we were just sitting around waiting on the phone to ring, and I will get teary-eyed because it moved me. So I'm sorry about that. It just, the phone rang, and I said, hang on. Everybody was, they were loud. And I said, hello? And Brian said, it just kills me just to hear it. And he said, and he said, when I call you, this is what it's going to do. You're going to be at number 2, or you're going to be at number 1, but wherever the records, we've got all of it, we can get out of it. Yeah. And they made their final pushes, and the promotion team, and he said, congratulations. I said, you got to be kidding me. So I just jumped in, and everybody else in the room, we were all hugging and crying, because at that time, I'm 34, I'm a little late to the game, right, at least from a recording standpoint. And everybody, I thought, all these people in this room, were probably 50 or 60 people, had supported us and stood behind us and listened to all the people say, oh, Neal's still trying to be a singer. You got to be kidding me, and all the stories. Yeah. And for us to have a number 1, it was no doubt about it. And it was a huge, huge deal for our family and the supporters. Yeah.
That's one of those deals where I know that when I've talked to enough people who, when whatever they're doing starts to climb. Right. And now you can't sleep at night because you're checking it. You're wanting to check it every day, every week. Right, when's the billboard come out? When are we going to know what the charts look like and stuff like that? Yeah. And so, there's not a lot of people who can say I had a number 1 hit. In the grand scheme of things, across the board, in the world, not a lot of people who can say I'm a recording artist. Think about how many are out there. And I had a number 1 song. You've had a couple of them. Yeah. And that's, I'll tell you,
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And you're 34 years old, so you're old enough to realize.
Yeah, and all the time and effort had been put in. Right, I'm not a kid that just that had not paid any dues at all. We'd been doing it a long time. Yeah,
and not a lot of people can say we were $2 million in the hole.
Right, and believe me, we were, because everything was so expensive. But too, Chad, I know I'm preaching to the proverbial choir that recoupable is a word that you never really get out of. Right. Because that's when the artist may start making a little money once you get everything paid back. Exactly. Well, by the time, if you keep finances on this thing, you look at it and you're thinking, man, I'm pretty close. Oh, well, did we mention to you about those 2 trips, where we had to send the promotion team? It's like, oh, forget it. So recoup is never a word that you ever get back.
You're never going to get out of it.
No, you're never going to recoup.
So talk to me about this. So I know that nowadays you have a huge, or in the last few days, look at the last couple of decades. Yeah. Country music, it keeps changing. It evolves. Yeah. So when you were doing those songs, then all of a sudden country music kind of takes on a little bit of a, pop rock type thing. It's just gone up and down. It's gone back and forth. Now, I jokingly say they took country, mixed it with rap, and this sounds like crap. It's so I don't know about this current trend. Nothing against the artists. I think you have to go with the trend that exists. But what do you think about what's coming out of Nashville these days?
You know, here's where I could be the bitter old man.
Yeah.
But I don't, and the reason being is because it's working. It's working for these young kids. They've got a huge younger demographic audience, and they're just lighting it up. So whatever works, because I say this, when I was in the 90s and cutting songs like Slam Bam, I'm feeling all right, you know, the wink and the shake it to the left, shake it to the right. I'm sure the Conway Twitties and the Haggards and those guys are going, really? Yeah. This is the crap you're going to let on the radio? Yeah. So I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So I'm, you know, all for it. I know some of the new cats that are coming and
they're good people.
They are good people, and they look after each other. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, you know, Charlie Pride helped you. Did your era help other people? And I said, yeah, but I said, I think these guys now that are coming out, maybe even closer. You know, the Blake Sheltons and the Lee Bryces and those people, they really all get along.
It's a family.
It is. And I'm glad to see it, because that's the way it should be.
It's a strong family. I always say, my little rant about country music is, I call it the backbone of America. You take that hard-working, blue-collar, keep your head above water, trying to feed the family. You get up early on Monday, and you may not quit work until Saturday night, and then you go to church on Sunday morning. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You blaze your own trail. You self-respect, respect for other people, self-discipline. Add in a little cheating, drinking, and dying, and you got country music.
Amen.
And nowadays,
very well put. Matter of fact, I'm just, let me hit my recorder and get you to say that one more time, because I'm going to learn that whole speech, and I'm going to sound a lot smarter.
Well, nowadays, you got cut-off jeans standing on a diamond plate tailgate in a pasture around a bonfire while the speakers go boom, boom, and you're drinking out of a Dixie cup. So again, it's more of a party Friday, Saturday night music than the hard-working blue-collar stuff that George and Conway and those guys taught us, you know. And then your era of music with Wink and Shake and Billy's got his beer goggles on, it was a little more of a honky-tonkin' era on that. But it's fun music.
It was fun
music. And I got to admit, if I put my tastes, my personal tastes aside, I find my toes kind of tap into a lot of the stuff that's coming out of Nashville. It's just a different sounding music.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, I don't know if we were as guilty of it in the 90s, even though we had different kind of music and then something. I don't think everything that came out sounded alike. Now we may have used the same beats and stuff, because there's only so many notes. You know, there's 7 notes that you can only turn so many different ways. But now it seems like, and I'm not downplaying it, but it just seems like everything sounds kind of like they're going for a sound that they know is reaching these millennials, for lack of better description. So they're going for the flowing kind of cadence, you know, the sound. A lot of people are using that, and so I think they're they found a formula. And they're going to beat it to death until it runs out.
It's funny you say that formula. I grew up playing ball with a boy named Ben Hayslip. And of course, Ben writes 3 number 1 songs a year. And he used to sit in a dugout and he'd say, as soon as I'm getting, we grew up in Augusta, Georgia. He said, as soon as I'm done with high school, I'm getting out here taking my guitar and I'm going to write songs in Nashville. And doggone, that's what he did. And he's made a lot of money doing it.
Isn't it great how that works every once in a while?
Yeah. It's so, and it works for him. I mean, you know, he writes 3 number 1s a year. And he said, I found a formula. And I said, well, I wish you'd have found maybe a different formula, because he sets the trend. And I jokingly say that. He doesn't care as he drives to the bank. And I appreciate that. So, but I like country music. I grew up, you know, spending a lot of time going up to Nashville, as a kid. We'd go to the Grand Ole Opry. I listened to the Grand Ole Opry every Saturday night through staticky AM radio with my grandfather. We'd watch Hee Haw, and then he'd take off and go dancing at the Legion or the American Legion or the VFW or the Order of Eagles, and he'd come in about 2:30 in the morning. I'd always spend the weekends with my grandparents. So he'd come in about 2:30 in the morning. He'd still get up and go to church, you know, that kind of deal. But I cut my teeth on that, and still Nashville's one of my favorite places because I love live music.
Yeah, it's full of it.
But the thing about you that I've always appreciated, aside from just the fun music you've put out, and you're a vocalist. You got a tremendous voice.
Thanks.
So when you came out with the record recently, You Don't Know Me, you were singing America's Songbook.
I was.
And
loving every second.
You nailed it.
Thanks.
Now, I've seen some stuff that you've done on social media. You're buddies with guys like Wayne Newton.
Yeah,
and
he's a dear friend of mine.
I love Wayne. I mean, I don't know that people. Sometimes guys like Wayne. Correct me if I'm wrong in that. Sometimes I think he becomes a punchline a little bit.
He does,
and it's not. And I think he's played that role well. He's rolled with it. He's big enough that he can handle it. But what a talent!
Oh my gosh, and he just all the instruments he plays, and and he's still out doing it. I'm sure he's not as good as he once was. Who is?
Yeah. I want to break out into a little Donkey Shane now.
Come on,
Donkey Shane. Hey, darling, Donkey Shane.
Hey, where you from? Go back.
Give me some birds. Give me some birds.
Where you from? I've been there.
He's a classic, man. But you did that album and killed it. Just destroyed it. And I don't think it's the Neal McCoy that people were expecting you to release an album singing songs like Unforgettable.
Yeah.
And those were great. And then you recently did a social media live video. You're bold. You did a live feed video on Facebook from the cab of your truck.
Sang them all.
In your suit, and you sang the entire album to the soundtrack and nailed it.
I appreciate it. And you know why I wanted to do that? Because I've always fancied myself, and this is going to be a snobbish kind of thing, as a real singer. And I know, and people go, well, what's a real singer to you? Well, I'm fixing to tell you. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
A real singer to me is when I was younger, I was probably a musical snob. In other words, I would turn it back when I was growing up in Jacksonville, Texas. You just had one radio station that played everything.
Right.
You didn't have all your formats. So if No Matter What You Are would come on, I would listen to that. But if a country song came by and it didn't challenge me vocally, I would flip the channel. Mm-hmm. Because I thought, oh, anybody can sing that. I thought it's cheating, drink, 3 chords, anybody can sing it.
Sure.
So I was a musical snob. So I'd roll the dial to James Ingram or Luther Vandross, and that's what I would listen to. And then only did I finally get into country music in 1981 when Charlie Pride introduced me and stuff, and started listening to country singers and realizing the ranges of these Merle Haggards and Conway Twitties. And
it's
I
incredible.
thought, oh my gosh, I thought, this is what I used to flip past. And now I respect it. But so the music I grew up to was these big band songs, the Sinatra, the Nat King Cole, the Dean Martin kind of stuff. So I it was a bucket list album of mine. And I wanted to get in the studio and do it. And thanks to a friend of mine named Don Sanders down in Houston, Texas, said, come on, let's go. He's 80 years old. He said, I know your passion for this. I'm going to help you finance this thing. We're going to go in. And I wanted to show people I was capable of singing, because to me, there's so much more singing than just hitting the notes. Sometimes I think in listening to some music now, I hear kids that are, and not just kids, but some singers that are hitting the notes.
Yeah.
But there's not any quality to the note they're hitting.
Exactly.
And I want to show people, hey, you have to be able to interpret, to phrase, and be able to deliver a song. And that kind of music, I thought you had to do that. So I'm glad I got in, and I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tremendous album, and I encourage everybody to go out there and get it. It's called You Don't Know Me. And it's you looking dapper on the cover of that thing, too.
Well, thank you. Hey, if you're going to go, might as well go. I don't know what that means.
It means something to somebody, and that's all that matters. You interpret it. Welcome to the existentialism program. No, I think that I love music. I think music is the key to the soul. I really do.
It is.
I grew up listening to these guys like George, and you mentioned Merle Haggard, and there are so many nuances to those voices, because you're right. You can hit the key. I can sing in key.
Right.
But there's not a lot of fabric. There's not a lot of texture to what I do. I use, and we've talked about this, I use music to entertain, to tell a joke, usually, to get somebody to the next story that I'm going to tell.
Yeah. And you do it well.
And it's passable.
You don't sing very good, but you do that well.
I can do that. I don't sing well very well. So it's, my mother always said, look on the positive side. But no, I do that. But you take them, these guys, and I think people pass over. They miss the nuances of a Merle Haggard,
Oh my God.
Can drop that note,
You had to go get that bottom.
Yeah. That whole,
that little slide.
It's crazy how they do that stuff.
And Conway's range.
Oh, incredible. I've tried to sing Conway songs, and I can't.
Do it. Yeah, don't do it anymore.
No way. I mean, why ruin it?
Yeah.
Why mess things up?
That's right. We heard it one time. Just leave it alone.
Blake Shelton's pulled it off a couple times. I'm not going to try to be like him either. How often do you get to Nashville? Is there any need?
No. My booking agent is still there. When I first got into the business, I never moved to Nashville. I've been home right here in Longview, Texas, my entire career. And that was and I'll get to your question, but that was for a reason that I stayed here. My wife and I have been married 37 years. We have 2 wonderful children. Well, now 2 grandchildren from our daughter. I made a decision a long time ago, and I talked about it with Melinda. I said, I can move to Nashville. Once we finally got a little kick in there, I said, I can move to Nashville and take a chance on getting real big, or I can live here, try to work hard to be big, and take a chance on a marriage. I said, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
You're always taking a chance when you're married.
You got that right.
But I said, where we can control things a little more here, and I said, and I'll just take a chance on if I was going to take a chance on one of them, I'd rather take it on my career.
Yeah.
And we've been able to live here. But in Nashville, I had everything was there. My record label, my producer, my manager, my everything that I did, my lawyer, everything was out of Nashville. But now I've backed it way off, and the only thing there anymore is my booking agency, WME or William Morris.
Yeah.
And other than that, I've reeled it all in. I mean, Les Martinez, my road manager, and I kind of manage me, and because so I there's not a lot of need to get to Nashville, and I don't very often. So when I do go now, and I see all these high rises and everything on.
Right there on Music Row, yeah.
I just can't believe it.
It's incredible how it's changed. And I mean, the mass influx of people coming into Nashville right now.
What are they doing?
It's incredible. I mean, they're packing them in there. I don't know if there's that many Taylor Swifts moving the town trying to make a career songwriting, but I mean, I know there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of people, and I think that's always been the mindset is, okay, you want to be a songwriter, then you got to move to where songwriters are.
You have your country songwriter, you got to move to Nashville.
You got to move to Nashville. You got to go in there and sit down in those writing rooms. You better bring something to the table and be ready to produce. So I don't know. I have people all the time asking me, when are you going to move to Los Angeles? I hope never. Nothing against Los Angeles. It's just I'm a Texas guy. Right. And I'm not even from Texas originally. I was conceived in Dallas, but I mean, that's a dirty story, And
we don't have time for that.
That's the extent of that. And I choose to believe that's the last time my parents were ever intimate. They did it perfectly with that one time and had me, and that was it. But beyond vocally, the thing I was going to get to a little while ago is the thing that I hear people always say about you, and I've seen you in concert enough to know you're an entertainer. You know how people say, oh, he's the consummate entertainer. You hit the stage, it's high energy. And you're like, what, 80, 90 years old now?
Well, 83. But man, am I doing a good job? I mean, we're sitting right here looking at my weight equipment. I get in there every once in a while.
I see you on Facebook every morning. We're going to talk about politics here in a minute because I want to.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about you because you stir it up. You're controversial, and I like that. You're really not, but I
have become just recently.
We'll tease people with that. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm always, Neal's like, well, I'm going down here to work out, or I just got done working out, and because you do the Pledge of Allegiance. You've done that thing live on Facebook now 685 times as of this morning of this recording. By the time you guys are listening to this thing, you can add probably another 15 to that.
Yeah,
because you don't see any end of that train. You've gotten up every morning. You've led people in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah,
now 685 times. In a row, consecutive days.
I know, and it's, and I sometimes I'll say, man, I'm tired, and people say, well, you ought to be. You hadn't slept in 685 days, and I go, no wonder.
And I can remember you've done a couple. In fact, correct me on this one too, because I remember you did some with like Brad Paisley. You've had Tim McGraw. You've had Wayne Newton. On there. You've had different ones. Did you do those videos kind of in the can and then put them up the next morning?
I just do them
live.
Do them live. Yeah.
No kidding. You got those guys up that early
at the shows. Well, no, there were a couple of those that I recorded the night before when I was doing shows with them. Yeah. And I would play the next day.
Gracious of them to do that.
Mighty wide of them.
Yeah.
Can you say that on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a phrase.
We'll
I don't even know what it means.
See, you're paranoid now because after
I am.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Let's get to it now. Let's get to the elephant in the room.
Okay, let's talk about it. So this is what everybody's waiting on. So a little while back, you released a song called "Take a Knee, My Ass." It was a reactionary deal. You guys, and I love it. It blew up viral because it was reactionary to the whole NFL debacle with guys that are protesting during the anthem.
Right.
Some have protested the anthem, but more as a protest during the anthem. And guys like yourself, guys like me, we feel like it's disrespectful to the anthem, to the flag, to the military, to folks that have sacrificed. So you have spoken out again. You've always been so diplomatic. So when you came out with this song, I thought, I love this because now you're becoming a little more like me. You're stirring the pot.
That's what I said. And when I put it out and started getting responses, I said, oh my gosh, I'm becoming more like Chad Prather. And this is not good. There's only one Chad Prather. I said, I hope somebody knows I'm not trying to get on his turf. So I did it with a song, and you talk to people, but
it's weird the way folks come at you. And it's a great song. It's a fun song. You
Yeah.
start out beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance, and,
Right.
and it goes into the, and you got a great rhyme, you got a great rhythm to it, and it's, take a knee, my ass.
Yeah.
And it's a bold statement. We're not going to condone that kind of activity.
right. And here's the kicker. I debuted it
Yeah.
in Branson, Missouri,
Yeah.
which is heart of the Bible Belt.
Sure, they buckle it right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's where the buckle is. And the demographic is my age and up.
Yeah.
So when I talked to the band, I said, hey, we're going to go do this for the first time. See what it's like. I'm just going to put it, I'm going to go Facebook Live, just see what kind of reaction we get. So I do it. And I get to the kicker, to take a knee. And I'm thinking, God, we're in Branson. They don't even like for you to
No.
say darn in Branson.
No, they don't.
So I said, take a knee, my ass. And
Did you hear the air just leave the room?
I did, but all I figured out what they were doing is they were just taking a breath so they could stand up.
So they could get excited.
And they stood straight up.
Yeah.
And I thought, we could be on to something.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people, Chad, and I know I'm preaching to the proverbial choir, there are so many people that want to say something, but don't know how, or scared,
Or
or
they can't.
That's right.
They fear repercussions, whether
And-
it's you've seen what you've gotten.
Oh my gosh.
I
I wouldn't recommend it to my enemies.
No, exactly. I mean, there's some really vitriolic stuff that comes. I mean, I can't believe that people carry that much hate inside of them that it needs to come out in the way that it does. I've been dealing with it for years.
I know you have.
And so
It was comforting to me.
Yeah.
I was comforting to me when you text me because because my wife she was getting scared. She was thinking, and you text me and when it trended,
Yeah.
and you text me and you gave me some words of wisdom. Said, don't worry about it. It's just and I told her what you read, and she said, oh, that makes me feel so much better. So I appreciate that.
Good.
Yeah, it kind of calmed me
Well,
down.
I've learned that the lion doesn't always have teeth.
Right.
And so there's a lot of folks that there's a big roar and there's not a lot. Now, that doesn't mean you got to be careful. We live in a crazy world. You got to be careful. And you guys certainly are. I mean, God bless Texas. We tend to know how to protect ourselves here.
Yeah.
And so we
just can't play in Texas every night.
Yeah, exactly. But we're all on the road and we're on airplanes and we're on all these places. But no, I thought you did a phenomenal job. You've handled it with grace and dignity, and because not everybody does. When you have something that goes viral, and again, my mother called me 2 years ago, and she said, "Chad, I was at church on Sunday. I'm concerned. Somebody came up to me and said, Chad's gone viral. Are you sick?" And so she had no idea what Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or any of that was. And I told her, I said, "Mom, don't worry about it. They're just talking about my Facebook and my Twitter." Well, I had no idea what that sounded like in her head. And she's like, "Chad, you're 43. You're too old to be touching your Twitter."
Yeah.
And so
And how long have you been calling it that? There's something wrong with you, son.
Oh, that's what the kids are calling it these days.
That's right.
But no, I when you go viral, you're exposing yourself to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's social media is designed for such you get crazy stuff. Because
Well, you
now
do.
the messages and the tweets and the responses and people are, some of it you laugh at it, and honestly some of it can be a little disconcerting if you let it be. It can be if you're new to it, especially because you want to protect your family, you want to make sure that those folks, because I see folks all the time that are outspoken, and the thing I've gotten over the years is people will say to me, "You say the things that we want to say and we can't say it." And so I've always said, "Why can't you say it?" And they said, "We lose our jobs. If we said what you're saying, we'd lose our jobs. We can't post that on social media because our employer would fire us. We have a policy and all." And when that started hitting me, I started realizing, hey, it's okay for me to use my voice to speak for other people. And I try to do that. I don't, I didn't set myself up as your ambassador and your spokesperson, but I try to do that. And I think a lot of folks have found that through your morning pledges. There's people who have been with you every day.
There have been, yeah.
I mean, they've said the Pledge of Allegiance with you every morning because they feel like why do you think that's so important?
I just think with the way the country is and has been for a little while, people, if they find something like the Pledge of Allegiance and they know I'm going to be there every morning, it becomes part of their day, just like it was when you and I were young and in school. You went to school and you said the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's usually a morning prayer over the loudspeaker or something. And now people have grown accustomed to it, and they like standing up. They like somebody that stands up for at least the way they feel for our veterans and our military and our policemen and our firefighters. That is American. That says America, because there's so many things that are not saying it right now. They're almost going the other way.
I was reading something and it resonated with me, and it made me realize, to be able to kind of classify it. I think you have a lot of Reagan era conservatives out there that feel forgotten, that feel like they don't have a voice anymore, and it recalls to them. I'm with you. I've heard you say it, and I agree. That the phrase "Make America Great Again" always kind of bugged me.
Yeah,
because America has always been great. It's the greatest country on the planet. Now you can give me statistics all day long, and I'll just tell you there's millions of people lined up waiting to get in here, and nobody wants to leave. Yeah. So that tells me there's something going right in this country.
Right.
And so freedom is an awesome thing. And so I think America always has been great. And I understand what the president was saying when he was running, is he was trying to say, hey, we're going to get back to economic greatness and power and things like that, where we're making our own products and stuff, blah, blah, blah. We can get into all that, but we don't need to. But I think it does call back to these folks who say, I remember when I went to school and we stood up every morning, put our hand over our heart, and we said the Pledge of Allegiance. And now they don't do that anymore.
No, very few schools. There's some schools, and some schools around here do, but you hear more of the ones that don't.
That don't do it.
But there's a lot of things they don't do anymore. Right. That's the sad part. And so my era, my age, we like the way we had it. Yeah. And the more that we're getting away from the way we had it, it even makes us like it more the way we had it, because it just seemed like it just wasn't today's world. And so us old people I say old, middle-aged, it depends on what you call me, I just don't want to let it go. But it's not because we're just selfish, it's because we really think there's something good that we don't want to let go.
But look at how crazy the world is these days.
Oh man.
Information comes at you at this almost the speed of thought. I mean, because you have the internet, you have social media, we've all got our Wi-Fi, we got our broadband, we got our Ethernet cables, we're plugged up through HDMIs. I mean, we got stuff running everything. And so for long we'll have a chip in our brain that'll just Google stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
It's almost close to that.
Won't have to think. That's
I got this stupid machine in my kitchen now. I can say, hey, Google, and she'll start talking to me. Yeah. I say it's stupid. She's the smartest thing in the house. It's definitely smarter than my dog and me.
I thought you were going to say your wife. No, you didn't include your wife in there. You're smart enough to not do that.
I got wisdom, Neal. I got wisdom.
But
no, I can say, hey, Google, how many miles is it to Neal McCoy's house? And it's 165 miles. And so it's like, I can do this whole thing. It's amazing how the world has changed. And so I think what it does is they're begging almost, we want to go back to simplicity.
Right.
I had a guy send me a message the other day, and he said, I wish maybe they would release one of those EMP bombs and just knock everybody back 30 years so they don't have that technology anymore. And I said, well, be careful what you wish for, because Kim Jong-un gets enough phone books to stand on, he can actually reach that button. He might do. That's what I pray for.
Says Chad Prather.
They never get phone books or step stools in North Korea. But no, man. So you did the song. The song went crazy, went viral. I loved it because I was on an airplane and I pulled it up and I go to Twitter and I go over to see what's trending, and there you are. You're the top story.
Isn't that crazy?
You were the top story. I mean, that's huge. And I mean, I know the stuff has blown up with everything from the press wanting to talk to you, and over the last little while, I mean, you've had your phone's gone nonstop.
It has, but the thing that I don't know if we talked about it off air, but I've always worked my entire career to be nice. And you have done the same thing. Yeah. To be nice to people, for people to want to be around you. Mm-hmm. And so this is our first real taste, my first real taste, and in turn my family's first real taste of not liking this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of spooky to the family when you see all that. You hit the nail right on the head when you use the word vitriol. That's exactly what it is. So
it's the best word for it.
Yeah. I
haven't found a better word for it. It's vitriol, and it's. I mean, people just there's a violence that comes out of them.
So that comes with the territory. So your original question, how does it feel to be trending? It was cool because I thought, oh yeah, I'm back. I'm back in the game.
I'm on the top, baby.
Oh man, I ain't had anything said about me in years now. And now they're saying, look, and then you start reading, you go, oh yeah. What?
Yeah.
Well, this song.
They call you everything from a racist to a bigot to, all of these things. And I always go off on
and a white racist. They called me a white racist. And I thought, have you not looked at my picture?
I don't know how that fits in with the Filipino blood, but I don't know, man. But everything is racist. I mean, the flowers in your yard these days are racist.
That's
It's
right.
craziness. But it is funny that for me, I know that I got my start doing the things that I do because of social media. So I have a love-hate relationship with it. I wish we weren't so tied to it, but I used to always say there's a way to use social media. I always treated it like this is my television network.
Right.
And I'm going to put the entertainment on there that I want. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it and you can see it. And if I want to promote something, every now and then like every TV network, I'll run a commercial.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell something, whether it's a ticket to a show or, things like that. So anyway, it's a crazy, crazy deal, but people have really launched into it and they take it sometimes way too seriously.
Oh my gosh, do they ever? It's just, and it's just like, oh my gosh, how can y'all say these things?
Yeah.
How can you say these things about our kids? And it's just like, what are you thinking? And I try and tell people, just because we have a difference of opinion, it doesn't mean I hate you.
Yeah.
We just, agree to disagree.
Yeah,
There's some things we're
discussion and dialogue.
Yeah. Or just saying, hey man, I totally disagree with that. You're crazy. I can handle that.
Yeah. I did a podcast a few weeks ago with Tommy Lahren. Tommy is a friend and Tommy is
a lightning rod.
She's a lightning rod. She's a flamethrower. And I say that in a good way. She's a polarizing figure. You love her or you hate her. And she's come out on certain issues that even conservatives disagree with her pretty heavily on. And I've had a lot of comments who said, I can't believe you'd hang out with somebody like that. Well, why? She's my friend. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I don't have to nobody, you've never met anybody. And that person was wearing a Texas Longhorn shirt. And I was like, well, I don't have to hang out with you because I'm a Georgia Bulldog.
That's right.
We're going to start picking every little thing that we don't agree
do.
on.
Oh, it's crazy.
So, it's funny. I encourage people when in my live shows, even when I'm doing comedy, sometimes I'll take a minute and be serious and I'll say, let's get along.
Yeah.
Because this is America and this is an important thing. And the bird has two wings. There's one on the left and one on the right. And it's got to have both of them to fly.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're in trouble. So it's a strange deal. What are you doing in 2018? Can you believe it's the end of the year already?
Man, the older you get, I never understood, because when you're young, it's just like, oh my gosh, this will never get here. This will never get here. And the older people, you say, well, son, there's going to come a day now when you, and now I'm that guy that when the grandkids go, well, I can't wait till this weekend. I said, well, just wait.
Yeah.
Because there's going to come a time. There's going to come a time when, it's 18 and we're doing the same thing that we've always done. We're working. We're doing shows. That is where all of this, if this record continues to grow or if the bottom falls out from under it, it's a tool for me. And just like hit records, all of this to me is advertising. And that's what I tell people all the time. They said, I bet you made a lot of money off that record. No. Just because it's number one record, I didn't make anything. But where that helps me is it's an advertising. So people love it. So they find out, I like this song. Oh, this guy's coming to town. I'm going to go buy a ticket. And then that's where we benefit from personal appearances. We're doing that. We work a lot. We love to work. And we feel, without being egotistical, we feel we're as good as anybody at entertaining people. And we do it. Not to say that I wouldn't like to have the smoke and the lights and the screens and all that, but we don't have it. But I promise you, if you put us on a stage, go put somebody else on a stage of equal. And I said, we're gonna out entertain you, and because we want to, we're gonna work hard.
Yeah.
And I think I've got a good pulse of what entertains people. Mm-hmm. And so all of this, whatever comes out of this record I've got out or anything I've always tried to do, I just want people to come see us in a show, because I promise you, if you'll come see me, we're going to take you on a roller coaster. It's going to be like when you go to a great movie where you have laughed, you've cried, you thought, and where you walk out of the movie theater going, oh.
Yeah.
That is exactly the way we're going to take you. And you're going to like it. I mean, I know it sounds like, well, this guy's cocky, and I may be, but there's such a fine line between cockiness and confidence, And you said a while ago,
well, that you are, and I'm glad you brought it up, because you are, in your band and your shows, consummate entertainer in entertainment.
I appreciate it.
It is. It's high energy. You take them down the road on all the emotional touches and spots, and you do that. I mean, I don't know how I have people who always say that to me. I don't know how you keep the energy to do all the things you do, and I guess I look at you and would say the same thing, because you get on stage and you hit it in fifth gear.
Well, it's old school. Mm-hmm. It's a degree of professionalism. Some of my best friends are Nolan Ryan and Carl Malone.
Right.
And they became great in their sports because of their attitude every time they took the field, every time they took the floor. And that's the same attitude I take. And you should really never settle for anything. And it's the one where that comes from is you. It comes from you. Right. There's no one can say, man, you need to get out there and hit them hard. You don't tell me that. I'm hitting them hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit them as hard.
There's one way to do it.
If you want to be, when you go, when you finally move on to heaven or wherever some people are going, I hope I'm going to heaven. When you finally move on, you want people to say, that's a guy that I saw 1,000 times and I never saw anything less than he could get me.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah. And I know that, I have people who come to me all the time that say, can you tell me how to have a viral video or how to go viral or how do you get a fan? And I said, what are you going to do with it if you got it? What's your plan? Be careful
what you wish for.
Once you get it, what are you going to do with it? Because you're just going to come with a lot of hate. I have sat in the trunk of my cab of my truck, held a $20 bill and talked about people's self-worth and how they need to think better of themselves. And I've still gotten hate mail over that.
Isn't that crazy?
Just because people want to hate. And I said, so are you ready for what's going to come your way? And then what are you going to do with it? How are you going to translate that into success? Because I can tell you, I'm at 1 billion views on social media,
That's
Facebook,
crazy.
And I've never received a dime from Facebook. Well,
yeah.
I have received, Facebook has paid me a couple of $100 over the years over some ad things.
But I know the reason you haven't received money, and that's the bigger story.
Well, yeah, and on YouTube, I don't receive money. All the money goes to another place. It goes to charities, and I don't.
Good for you.
And because I'm like you, I want it to open. It's a tool for me to open up doors to go do shows.
Right.
And I go out there and I try to entertain people. It's advertising. It's a tool. And so I try to do those things. How many times a year do you sing the national anthem at a ballpark?
Not near enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to do it.
I bet you start doing more and more with this, especially you're going to get on a few radars.
And I hope so. And I'm glad you brought that up because this is a pet peeve of mine, the national anthem. Because, and I've felt this way a long, long time about it. When I sing it, it is going to be straight, and I often say the way God wrote it. Right. And before everybody starts writing and say, God didn't write it. I know that.
Yeah.
But if God would have written it, this is the way He wrote it. And if you look at the notes on the page, it is, oh, say, can you see? It is straight to where, because a lot of the country, if it's on television or just in the stadium or wherever you're singing it, they really want to sing it with you. They really do. But the first time you've twisted and turned it, and jacked with it, then you've lost them. They now will stand, the respectful ones are still going to stand there with their hand over the heart, but they've quit singing. Yeah. And you've taken that away from them.
Well, they can't keep up with a lot of these artists who are trying to put their flair on.
Nor should they have to try.
It should not be longer than 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. And sometimes we'll do that, like at the Super Bowl. I'll time it, and I'll say, let's see if this is going to go over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll say, depending on who's singing it, I bet you this sucker goes more than 2 minutes. There's no reason for the national anthem to go that long.
Yeah.
And these
mine's about 1:22,
and they're dragging these things out. And I'm like, my God, this is crazy. Just sing the song.
I tell these kids, and not just kids, people, I said, look, no one. And you brought it up, so I'm going to stand on it now.
Come on with it.
No one came to hear you sing the national anthem. Unless you brought a friend or you got family members, no one came here to hear you sing the national anthem.
Right.
They're here to see the ball game, to see whatever's coming after. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
So when you sing the national anthem, sing it straight, sing it with respect, sing it with honor, the way it was written, and move on.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you sing it right, I promise you won't be singing it by yourself. They'll be singing with you.
Yeah.
But I said, no one came to hear you.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We agree on that. I say you're the vessel carrying the message, deliver the message, get out of the way.
That's exactly
That's the thing. Because it is a song to be honored. And I know people say, well, it's just a song. No, it's not.
It's not just a song.
It's not just a song. It matters.
That's what this latest song I've got is.
Exactly.
It is just a song is about.
Exactly.
That's not just a song either. It's a message.
I hope that, and you delivered it well.
I appreciate
it. I hope that this generation coming along can truly, that we can convey to them that it's not just a song, that it matters. that it represents something way larger than anything we could ever imagine.
Yeah.
We're talking about bloodshed. We're talking about sacrifice. We're talking about people for generations who have given something to provide us a way of life. And that song represents it. So it does piss me off when I see these guys taking a knee.
Me too.
On the deal. Look, I'm with you. If you want to protest, I'll stand arm in arm with you. I'll protest with you. But let's not disrespect something that means so much to so many Americans.
It's not right now.
So much. Yeah, it's just not a good deal.
Yeah.
Using the wrong platform. And do you have a right to do it? I reckon you do. I mean, I can't imagine. Let's say you owned a restaurant and you had an employee that walked into your restaurant and started telling all your patrons to get out, and using expletives at them. You'd fire that person.
Sure.
Well, that's what these players are doing. They're walking into this owner's place of business and telling all the fans, get out.
Yep.
This is our place. We're going to do what we want to do. We don't care what you think about it. And unfortunately, they're not being fired.
That's exactly right.
I said it. You didn't. You didn't have to. I said it.
I liked it. Says Chad Prather. Neal McCoy is not agreeing. He's shaking his head no. As Chad's going down the road, I'm going, no, stop. No, don't say it. No. Oh, he said it. Yes. Yes, he said it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, hey, you got a beautiful house.
Thanks, man.
It's decorated for Christmas. Christmas is upon us. I can't believe 2018 is upon us. How long into 18 before you kick off shows again?
Oh, gosh, we got them middle of January.
Okay. NealMcCoy.com.
Yes, sir.
It's got your tour schedule.
All the time.
Got your merchandise.
Got everything. Got your Take a Knee My Ass shirts. Don't forget that.
Take a knee my ass and get the song. Check the song out.
What would you look better in sitting around the Christmas tree with a T-shirt that says Take a Knee My Ass? I mean, everybody get them. It'll be fun.
I've got a couple of the Neal McCoy pledge shirts.
All right, good.
And I wear them often and faithfully.
Good.
And, of course, you got to find Neal on Facebook. You can find him. Go to Neal McCoy. And you'll find him, and Twitter as well, at Neal McCoy. Is it at Neal McCoy?
It is at Neal McCoy. I'm not as good at Twitter as I am at Facebook. Yeah. And I'm
getting better at it. I'm not great at it myself.
Well, it's because time. You're so involved in your other ways of communicating. It's hard to.
I don't know how these people who do Twitter just all day long.
I don't know either.
Do it. I mean, I got other stuff to do.
Yeah, me too. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't. But I mean, some of these guys, they're tweeting every 5 minutes.
Well, some of them aren't getting. They're at work. Yeah, and not doing a very good job there.
It's a crazy deal. Go get the song "Take a Knee My Ass" and request it at the radio stations. That's another fun because all the country stations in America should have that song.
They do. They have it now.
It's been delivered, and so they got a digital format of that thing. They'll call them, just say, "Hey, we want the Neal McCoy's Take a Knee song."
Yeah, and it also goes by the name of for the radio stations that don't want to play.
Yeah.
It's called "I Won't Take a Knee."
I won't take a knee.
Yeah, which is also in the song a bunch.
Okay,
that phrase.
And most importantly, get to a show. That's the deal.
That is exactly right. I appreciate you hammering that because that's all of this is to where you'll come see us.
Yeah,
and then because you come see us, we got you.
Yeah, get on NealMcCoy.com. You'll see the tour schedule. And if you're ever driving on I-20 in East Texas, going through Longview, Texas, honk the horn. Neal will hear you and he'll wave.
That's right.
Of course, after some of the stuff that's come in, you might hear his wife firing shotgun blasts into the air.
Yeah, because if you come to our house, she will shoot you. She shot at me a couple of times. And I go, but it's your husband. I know, that's why I'm shooting.
God bless Texas.
Right.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. Always subscribe, leave a review, check us out, and tell your friends to come and subscribe as well to the Chad Prather Show on Podcast One. Thank you guys for listening. Neal, thanks for having me in your house.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being on the show, buddy.
You bet, buddy.
All right, take care. God bless you guys. Love y'all. I want you to follow me on Twitter at WatchChad. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/WatchChad. You can subscribe to Chad Prather on YouTube, and you can find me on Instagram at WatchChad. Hey, rate, review, and subscribe to the Chad Prather Show on Apple Podcasts.
Thanks for listening to the Chad Prather Show. Check out new episodes every Thursday exclusively at PodcastOne.com, the new Podcast One app, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Podcast One has new shows on our new app. Check out all the cool features to help you explore our exciting new programming, like America's Lakers podcast with Jay Moore, Sessions with Randy Jackson, So Random with Corinne Olympios, Attack Each Day, The Harbaugh's podcast.